At New Generation Wealth Management, our motto is make the rest of your life the best of your life. So how do retirees do that? We're going to share something very fun with you today. Now, Amber, research has shown that the happiest retirees are those who have a sense of community, a sense of belonging, family and friends. So we have a friend who does something super unique, who told us that this community is extremely welcoming, particularly for retirees.
So recently, I met up in the garden of one of my good friends who graciously showed me a little glimpse into the great community that is giant pumpkin growing. Now, this is something that most people have seen at the state fair or county fairs, these giant pumpkins, but maybe haven't really thought much about how they came to be so big.
Amber, we found out while talking to Jenny that number one, it's pretty darn easy to do, right? Number two, the community is super welcoming. And number three, it's just really cool, right? I mean, 1,000-pound pumpkins growing in your front yard, your backyard. The community comes together. The neighbors all want to see it. It's a real talking point.
So if this is something that you think you might be interested in, something that might be fun in your retirement, you'll definitely want to watch this video today. So check it out. Today I am in the garden of my very good friend Jenny West, who has recently started giant pumpkin gardening. So this is a new hobby of yours, Jenny. How long have you been doing this?
I grew one last year.
So last year was your first year. As you can see, we have attempt number 2 at giant pumpkin gardening in front of us. So this pumpkin you said is how old?
It's about 45 days old.
So 45 days old, and so the optimal time to plant a giant pumpkin is when?
Late April.
Okay, so late April. We are in Minnesota, so late April in Minnesota, you plant this giant pumpkin. Now you can't just use a pumpkin seed. What do you do to make sure that you have a giant pumpkin?
I think the most important thing is genetics. You're going to want to get a good seed, which is not the kind you find at the hardware store.
So where do you find a good seed?
It's probably best to join a giant pumpkin growing club, and you'll find one anywhere in the world. They'll sell you seeds, or you can join like a Facebook group, and there's a fabulous community online. You can get seeds for very, very inexpensively, usually just the price of postage to have them mail it to you. So, and then you can get seeds from a pumpkin that's 1,500 to 2,000 pounds.
Oh wow, so that's what this came from, a seed from a giant pumpkin, right? Okay, so is this going to get any bigger, or are we about maximum size here?
I'm hoping for another 100 pounds, but we'll see.
Okay, and this is the color it will be?
Yeah, they come in lots of shades, anywhere from greens to bright oranges, and Minnesota is actually really kind of at the forefront of getting these beautiful dark orange pumpkins.
Very nice. So if someone wants to get started in this, Jenny, what would you recommend for the first step?
I would join a Facebook group, like a giant pumpkin growing Facebook group.
Okay, and what is sort of the financial, I guess, and time commitment to giant pumpkin growing?
As long as you have a garden, there's not really a lot of cost unless you want it to be, in which case you can spend thousands of dollars. But if you want to just try it for the first time, you can always buy a seed for $5 postage or whatever and put it in the ground.
Okay, now you actually, last year, you submitted, that's kind of a weird word for it, because she had to hoist this giant pumpkin onto a trailer and drag it to a competition, right?
Yeah, we brought it to the Stillwater competition.
Okay, so you submitted a pumpkin to this competition, and how big was that pumpkin?
It was 330 pounds.
Okay, and how big was the winning pumpkin?
Oh goodness, I don't even know. Probably 1,800 last year.
Oh wow.
We were growing in a drought, so they were kind of small.
That is small. Oh, that's funny. So this to me looks like an enormous giant pumpkin, but you're still in the early years of learning how to pumpkin farm, right?
This is a little tiny pumpkin, yeah.
Okay. So Jenny, at New Generation Wealth Management, we are all about trying to help our clients make the rest of their lives the best of their lives in retirement. So how do you think that giant pumpkin growing can help someone with this?
Well, I always thought that it was like a cutthroat, secretive kind of thing that nobody shared their tips and tricks, but it's actually been exactly the opposite. I've made a lot of friends. that are active on, I tend to use Facebook, that are active on Facebook, and we've become like actual friends where we comment on our kids' pictures or grandkids or whatever. But they also are super helpful about the pumpkin growing, and they'll tell me, to put on fertilizer or what to do about like a vine management issue. It's been really a great community, and I feel like I've got some friends from it, and that's just after 1 year. So it's been fun. It's been super welcoming, even though I brought a super small pumpkin last year. Everybody was absolutely kind and just super welcoming, and I've really enjoyed it.
So a great community maybe for retirees who are looking to make some friends with common and similar interests. I would think it gets you outside and gardening and doing outdoor activities. And so this is actually a great hobby for retirees who are looking to learn something new, maybe meet some new people.
And you can always start small and just grow a little one, and then as you get addicted, you can grow a true giant one.
Well, thank you, Jenny, for letting us invade your garden today. It's beautiful, and best of luck with your giant, I think it's giant, pumpkin.
Thanks. We can estimate its weight, but we do 3 measurements. So we go side to side. Today it's 77 inches. And then we go blossom to stem. And you just let it go straight down at the end. And so today that is 77 inches. And then you do a circumference horizontally around the widest point on the pumpkin. And today that is 111. And then I can put it in a calculator, and it will give me an estimated weight. And yesterday it was 420 pounds. They gain about 15 pounds a day. Unless you're a good grower, then they gain like 40 pounds a day. All pumpkins are girls. And she is about 45 days old. A lot of people name their pumpkins. So her name's Thundra from Marvel.
Now, Amber, after you went over to see Jenny's pumpkin, I had to go over there too because I've heard about it. So I later went over there just to check it out, and I can tell you, it really is pretty neat. Like, this is just growing in her backyard. As she mentioned in the video, it doesn't take much effort, much work. As long as you've got the space for those plants to spread, it's pretty easy to do.
And also a great sense of community, which is something that a lot of retirees are looking for after retiring from their job that gave them that sort of sense of community for so many years. This is something else that will give them that.
Now, Amber, something that she did not mention is, yes, there's this pumpkin community that talks about how to grow giant pumpkins, but she did allude to it that they're actually friends. And all the time she'll say something like, well, I saw this in my giant pumpkin group. That has nothing to do with pumpkins, right? It's just that sense of community. And for her, it's been so welcoming. It's actually become a pretty big part of her day-to-day life, just interacting with that community.
So if you have more questions or you think this is something that you might want to get involved with, make sure you click on one of the links in the description to some of these groups so that you can learn more about it.
And I think, Amber, we should make the rest of our life the best of our life by growing one in our cabin next year.
Plan now to retire happy.